I'll start off by just thanking our fans. Midweek holiday, a lot of reasons not to be in the building tonight, but they showed up and gave us a tremendous atmosphere for a Big 12 basketball game. And so I'm very thankful to that. Obviously disappointed. I didn't think as a team we necessarily met the moment collectively in a way that would give ourselves the best chance to win tonight. We scored 76, and so we got some good offensive production, but it wasn't with the right kind of flow. And in a lot of ways, feel like we got caught up trying to beat them at their game, which they're better than us at that. And so, winning 4 in a row in this league, we don't really think about it. It's really hard to do. And so you got to realize that even in moments where you're having success, you got to keep getting better. And I think we did. But you can't get too high focusing on that success. No different than after a loss like tonight, which is very disappointing. You can't get too far down. There's still a lot of games left, a lot to play for. We're in solid position. We just got to get back to work next time we're on the court and focus on trying to improve as a team.
What did you think of the defense? You mentioned 76 offensive points and flow there, but your defense obviously gave up.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Not an excuse maker. Thought we had an opportunity, to really string together some stops to end the half. Some untimely turnovers led to some easy baskets. And then instead of having a lead at halftime when Jalen Wilson's got 2 fouls, I would imagine they felt pretty good going in with the lead. But our defense didn't have the bite today that it's had most of the season. Save a couple games here or there, but we weren't as crisp, we weren't as connected defensively as we're capable of being, and that cost us. Against a team like that with the championship pedigree they have, they take advantage when you're not as good as you're supposed to be.
How do you pinpoint something there? Or is it just off night or what?
Again, I have to go back and watch the film, but there were a lot of kind of 50-50 balls. I feel like we didn't come up with. We didn't finish plays all the time with defensive rebounds. Without getting too specific, because again, that's just the emotion of the game. I don't have all the plays, but just think we had the right kind of resistance that we've been. I feel like every time they needed a basket, they got kind of what they wanted.
To be fair, they talked, Coach Self and their players talked about that's probably the best they've run their offense outside of their own building. And they are a good basketball team.
No, they're really good. There are a lot of times, and it's kind of the nature of things. You forget that, there's a reason they are who they are and have been who they've been. I've got a ton of respect for their program, and I think they have the best coach in the country, in my opinion. He's able to make adjustments game in and game out with the different rosters, different personnel, in a way that I've just not seen by many people. And it's the reason they can figure it out each year and get better as the season goes along. So a lot of respect for him. And so, yeah, sometimes you can beat yourself up over losing, but sometimes you gotta give credit to the other team for being good. They had 26 assists. It's a big number. They played the game really, really efficiently and effectively, and had us in some tough spots. And so you have to play really, really well to beat a team like that. And we played okay. Okay is not good enough.
Mike, was this a game where you missed Avery the most, you think? Mainly just for his defense?
It's easy to say that, I think the personnel we have is good enough to get the job done. Avery's a really good player. He had surgery. Tomorrow will be 7 days ago. He's not coming back for a while. So I haven't given that much thought, to be honest, because I know this team's got to figure out a way to have success without him, certainly for the near future, and probably for a little bit longer than that. So he was a really important part of our defense because of his awareness, his competitiveness, but it's not really something we can focus on. So we just got to figure out a way to get the job done.
Musa didn't have a lot of blocks, but did you get the feel when he came in the first half, their shooting percentage went down, and they had to adjust to him. He had that presence you love to see him have in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've been doing this for a while now. I've never seen a guy have that type of impact on a game without having to touch the basketball. Truly special in that regard. So yeah, I mean, the block shots don't always tell the story of, I think teams game plan for him. There's very few guys, I've been doing this 19 years, that you have to game plan for how you're gonna score against them. Not necessarily how you're gonna stop them from scoring. He's one of those guys, so it makes him unique. But tonight, even with him, we weren't quite good enough.
You mentioned can't get too high, can't get too low. How do you get the team to realize that coming off of a disappointing night in front of that energy?
I mean, you just have an honest conversation with them about what's still in front of you. I mean, we're gonna go down to Fort Worth on, I guess we'll leave Friday and play a game against a team that we played well against here in our building, and that's just like us, fighting to claw and to get in a little bit better position in the conference heading into the last couple of weeks of the season. So that's where your focus has to be. You can't worry about what happened tonight. It's not gonna help you, and they're not gonna feel bad for you. So the focus has to be, how do we play our best basketball Saturday, whatever time the game is. I can't even tell you right now. And how we do that is prepare really well between now and then.
You played, you say, alongside Boone more tonight than probably the last 10 games or so. Is that just a matchup thing? Was that just the way the game played out? Is that something you're going to probably use?
Woody Newton and Keon, who kind of have been playing for, both had fouls in the first half. So that was a part of it. And so you just kind of got to coach the game as it evolves. And then they probably give you the best chance to defend the rim. And Caleb obviously had it going pretty good offensively. So you can't decide to take him out when he's pretty much carrying us on the offensive end. So the game just called for them to be out there a little bit more tonight, between the foul trouble and then their impact on the game on offense and defense. But we'll continue to evolve as we move forward with trying to figure out what each game takes to have success.
I think a lot of people talk about what Caleb did tonight or John Michael, but I mean the rest, aside from those three guys and BT, your team had 14 points. How much does that show, or important is it to get production from the rest of the team?
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, especially if we're going to try to play the game the way we try to play it tonight, where it's going to be a shootout, so to speak. But that happens. I'm mostly, again, the offensive. We shot 48% from the field. I mean, we shot 50% from the field and 47 from three. Without the benefit of looking at the film, it's hard for me to sit here and talk about our offense really beating us tonight. Now, the turnovers, some of them were just poorly timed and stuff like that. But we got to defend better. I mean, we're a better defensive team than we showed. And we just didn't have our fastball tonight, and our curveball wasn't good enough.
Bryce, again, struggled offensively the second half. Is there something he can do different in the second half when teams adjust to him?
I mean, that's a part of being a good player. I mean, you gain the attention of other teams, and obviously we played through Caleb quite a bit, and he's able to play off that some. But then when they don't double, and he got to get some more in transition. We got to get him to the free throw line a little bit more and try to get him some easier opportunities. But teams sometimes make halftime adjustments and say, you know what, that guy's not going to beat us today, and that happens. So we just got to be able to find someone else to pick up the slack when that happens.
This was the first team in a while who hasn't aggressively doubled Caleb. Was that a surprise to you at all? Were you expecting that? And then did that make you have to adjust?
I don't want to say I was surprised. I expected him to double, particularly because of the way he had been playing here lately. But they doubled him when we played in Lawrence, and they didn't have a whole lot of success doing it in the first half, particularly, and went away from it. And obviously, they played better there, so it didn't surprise me that they didn't, even though we were planning for them to. And so we just kept playing through to the degree that we could.
How do you try and get Bryce to string together two successful scoring halves? It seems
Again, part of it is get them easier baskets, some in transition, maybe get them on the ball a little bit more in situations where John Michael's out, because obviously he's playing backup point right now with Avery down. And then trying to find ways to manufacture him getting to the free throw line or running some stuff that we can run him off screens. But again, we're dealing with a little bit of a personnel issue without our third kind of primary playmaker, because obviously he goes to become more facilitating minded when he becomes our point guard, which happens probably a third of the game now.
Coach, did you feel Grady Dick's three-pointer before halftime, which put KU up by 2, was a momentum swinger?
I mean, obviously it was a big play. It was kind of a breakdown of communication for us. We had a dead ball. I think we had a mix-up in our defensive calls there, and that should never happen. A guy who shoots that well is obviously pretty close to the top of the scout report with Jalen Wilson. Getting a look like that, we challenged it, but it was way too late. So, again, what happened was psychologically they went into the half up with their best player really battling foul trouble. And so again, I don't know momentum, but I think psychologically they felt like, okay, we're going to be okay here. And obviously we were kicking ourselves because I think we had 4 turnovers or 5 turnovers in the last 4 minutes when we had been taking care of the ball, which really was more of the momentum swing than anything, because we had a chance to maybe extend to 6 or 8 point lead, and then instead of being up 4, because I think we were 4 maybe like a minute to go, and wound up down 2, like you said. So I think it was more of the turnovers, but I think the shot psychologically for them made them feel like they were in a good place.
Anything else for Coach?